you that you're too old to be having a dance party till 2 a.m.?
Oh. Oh. Evening. Sorry about that if it bumped into you. Is that saved? Are you saving it?
I can't fathom why there's this many fucking people on a board. It's incredible.
It is.
I don't understand it. This is not what I ordered planned.
No. You do know on your website it says Suwannee County deed restrictions coming soon, right?
Suwannee County what?
Deed restrictions are coming soon.
How do they vote on that?
It lists that Columbia County's deed restrictions, but then it says Suwannee County deed restrictions coming soon.
What are they doing? I mean, we're already a deed restricted community.
No, you're not.
That's what I read.
Well, if you pull the county document, the person that filed that struck through the top with a Sharpie marker and wrote Suwannee County, and then signatured at the bottom and altered a notarized document, so they're not legally filed in Suwannee. That's why it says coming soon.
He, asshole did say at a meeting, somebody said something about Suwannee County, and I remember distinctly going, we're working on it.
Well, they didn't have a meeting last month, but the month before that, that was brought into question by the little old lady that was kicked out of the park. And Glenn said that they can't enforce the deed restrictions over there, so the deed restrictions are enforced by the county, not the board. And that's on my YouTube. You can go back and watch it.
Well, they shouldn't be able to do it without what is it, 2/3 fucking vote of the homeowner?
Yep, in 1997, all the deed restrictions went defunct, and they didn't revitalize them until 2020, which is against the law. They can't do that. And that's what that cease and desist letter said from the last group of people.
They did that without a vote, 2/3 vote.
You got more of this in your head than I do. I was president of an association for years down south. I moved here because I didn't want to deal with
Exactly.
that.
We all did. Not all, but I think 90% of us did. And because we liked it quiet
These
and we liked the
motherfuckers want to
nature.
make it Palm Beach County.
Exactly.
I got 10 fucking acres. Stay off my property. I wish.
They also posted new policies and procedures on their website. One of those says that if you're shooting a gun, they're going to send board members out to try to stop you from shooting it and have the sheriff's office confront you.
I saw that.
Well, they better be bored because they'll be getting shot
You
at.
got that fucking right. You ain't coming in my fucking yard. They can't do that. State law says if you want more than an acre, you can do what the fuck you want. I know people that have got gun ranges.
Yeah, totally. Yep. I thought about opening one over on one of my acres.
Well, I've got 10 where my house is, but then on another street I got another 4.
Yeah,
So I can do it on either one.
right. I've only got 8. I got 5 in one spot and 3 in another in the neighborhood. I also own the property that goes behind that little grocery store up there, Pope's. That little store up here at the other. I own all the property that goes behind and next to that too. It's 5 acres.
Gotcha.
But that's not part of Three Rivers. It's
Do you
just
know
like
my
right
buddy?
outside.
Do you know my buddy? I call him Flanders. His name's Tim Flanders.
Yeah, I know Tim. Yeah, he owns the farmland. He actually owns right across the street from me in Downwood, but he rents that out.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know Flanders.
he's a good boy. He's supposed to be getting me a bunch of signatures too. It's funny because
July 8th meeting's order. If you would please stand for invocation.
Our Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you so much for this day. Lord, we thank you for this neighborhood. We just ask you to keep blessing it. Watch over, bless this meeting, bless this place. Be with us throughout the night. Watch over us, Lord. We give you the honor and the glory, and we praise your name. Amen.
If you would please turn and salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. It's been a very hot summer. Sorry we missed last month, but I think we can take care of business tonight. So we'll move on to roll call. Hilda?
Okay. Glenn Hunter.
Here.
Tom Carroll.
Here.
Rhonda Ackerson. Here. James Baker.
Here.
Bonnie Blackwell. Here. Terry Boyette. Here. Judy Brim. Here. Lori Lilly. Here. Tommy Matthews.
Here.
Wayne Seller.
Here.
Charlie Thompson.
Here.
Terry Pester. Here. Vicki Olson. Here. Vicki Sellers.
Here.
Bill Brim. Here. Mike Conley.
Here.
Ken Hoyt. Here. And Dusty Trail is no longer with us. I mean, a member.
Yeah, which means she decided if her husband decided to fire when he gets paid too.
Not
You
here.
did speak with him this week or last week? Okay, thank you, Hilda. We'll accept the motion to approve excused members. We only have one, and that's Dusty's. Did he tell you if he would be here or not?
He's, I texted him and I thought he was coming.
He's missed 50% of meetings already.
Yes, that's correct.
So
So
can we excuse him?
we don't have to, no, we can vote to not excuse him. We have a motion. So what's the pleasure of the board?
I don't know.
Okay, so we will not approve this absence, okay? So I need somewhat to motion that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need a motion to not approve Desi's,
Bonnie just made that motion.
okay, you did make a motion?
Well, I was going to, but it's the same. Yeah, I'll make a motion to not excuse his absence, he's missed 50% of the
Okay,
meeting.
that's great. Did we have a second? Second. Okay. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Any opposed?
I'm sorry, who's second? James? Oh,
James.
thank you.
Okay. Okay, board members, you have a copy of the agenda? Pleasure of the board.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Charlie Thompson. Second by Tom Frank. Any discussion on the agenda? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. We'll move on to the minutes for May. Hilda?
You have the minutes in front of you, as of about a month ago. Hopefully you've had time to look at them. Any changes or corrections? None heard.
Make a motion we approve the minutes.
Motion by Charlie Thompson. Second by Tom Matthews. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We move on to the secretary's report. Hope you
I have
anything?
nothing to report.
We'll move on then to the treasurer's report. Vicki?
Okay. We have 2 months to approve. I've handed out May. As of May the 31st, Seacoast checking account was $43,966.31. Our savings account, which is a reserve, was $503.61. Our CD account was $52,320.18. Checking account for membership is $118,024.90, for a total of $214,815. I went through the P&L and wrote down what might be considered out of the ordinary things that were written. We had legal fees that were written of $3,868, and you'll see on this is all coming from the P&L. The general legal fees was $3,585. The Jesse Crane litigation was $284 that month. Under the Columbia County maintenance, we had $2,933, and majority of that was due to the cemetery cleanup, which is $2,500. Under Swanee maintenance, we had $595, and that was for work that was done at Brennan Park. And then under capital improvement, it was a little over $11,000, and that was due to wall framing, window replacement, replace the air conditioner here in the clubhouse, custom window seals, and the electrician's charge. Is there any questions on May? Okay, then on June, as of June the 30th, the Seacoast checking account balance was $25,013.03. Our reserve account with savings was $503.63. The CD account is $52,320.18, and our membership checking account is $102,417.94.
Look at that dude. Watch him.
$196,254.
He can't stop moving his jaw.
On the P&L for
Yeah.
June, some of the items that I pulled out so I can explain them to you was, in June, we had to write a check for insurance, workman's comp liability, $833. The legal fees was $1,055, which is the Jesse Crane and for general counsel. Well, Columbia County maintenance was $800. And I did not write down what that was for. The mowing was caught up. Before, Ken gave us an invoice like once every 3 or 4 months, and it would be a huge invoice, but it would cover several months. Well, the new fellow that's doing the mowing gave me an invoice of $1,950. So that was new out of the ordinary.
That was for Bill, not too.
Yes. So, in the other expense category, 5,300 of that was the painting of the 3 other buildings besides the clubhouse. There were 3 other buildings that were painted. If you'll notice under Portalets, it's 1,032, and that was for 2 months, because I wrote a check at the beginning of the month for that month, and then I wrote a check at the end of the month for the following month, which is the way it hit. I have to do checks when Terry's available. There were also security cameras bought for the clubhouse in Midpoint, that was $833. And the same thing with Swanee for janitor labor and for the mowing was actually for 2 months. Normally I read once every month, but the way it hit, that was for 2 months. And then capital improvements is painting of the clubhouse. Is there any questions on June?
Do you have any questions, board members?
Yeah, the
Give
mowing,
numbers.
the mowing labor in Columbia County, you said it was $1,950 for June. Was that under the old contract or the new
No, that's the
contract?
new one, and that's for several months, and that's for all the parks.
Okay.
He not only
Including-
mowed, he weed eated, he sprayed weed killer, it was more cleanup.
Okay, so there's mowing over on the Swanee County side for $290. Does he know that also?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, part of that is for Swanee. He mows the boat ramp, but Nathan mows, no, he mows the entrance. I don't think it was for, yeah, it was for the boat ramp. It was for the
So
boat
he
ramp.
mows the boat ramp on the
Nate.
Swanee side?
She just said it, Nate.
And the
does that.
entrance?
And the entrance on 27. Nathan mows the entrance into our neighborhood, along with the janitor and bathroom cleanup on the Swanee side.
Okay. Any more questions, board members? Need a motion to approve May and June financial report with expenses. Motion moved. Motion by James, second by Tommy. Any discussion on the finance report? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we will move on then to the,
Real quick, I do have a question. If you have, it's not anything with the banking info. I wanted to know how much money is allotted for each park specifically, for improvements and.
We
is
don't
it-
allot per park.
Okay. And then my next question is the, excuse me, I'm sorry. Under the reserve account. I'll kind of preface it with this. In January of '24, Tommy Montague stated that the maintenance committee was broke after the budget cuts from the projected $290 budget to the agreed upon budget of $175. In May of 2024, it was stated that there was, quote, no money in the budget for simple picnic tables. This January of 2024, the income was $177,800 plus, and the end of the year bank statement for December of 2024 was $128,599. We have plenty of money in the budget for picnic tables and much more. And I also understand that our CD account with the revolving 50,000 plus interest is the original reserve funding account. Is that reserve account statutory or non-statutory? And when was that voted on? And what's the plan for the 50,000 reserve account?
The 50,000 that we originally had in the reserve savings account was pulled out and put in the CD because we were not making any money off of it.
Right, but what was the original purpose of the reserve 50?
Just to keep it in reserve in case of an emergency.
So when was that put in that account originally? And when was that voted on?
sometime back, the board approved, trying to maintain a balance through our accounts that's equal to what the membership is so that we can fall back on for any disasters or any issues that we have. So that we weren't running real close or almost zeroed out. So we've always worked very hard to keep a good positive balance somewhere close to where our annual membership is.
Okay, so the board voted for it to be a savings
Yeah,
account.
it's in the minutes somewhere back. It's been several years ago.
And, yep, I think that is
Okay, so we approved that. Did I get a motion? I got a
You
motion
had
to-
from James and Trammell.
Okay, Okay, did we vote on that? Okay, we voted. Okay, so we'll move on then. Sorry, we did ask Terry. Is it Terry? You'll be the president's report?
Just hard.
Just a moment.
It's not, it's just not a very good job.
No, it's okay.
We're gonna try to pull together an intent for August, we're still working on the dates now, like I said, well, we'll start. But we ain't got a date right now, but we'll work down, put it on Facebook and all. And then I had a
She's
member
seen all
that
the
sent
embezzlement
some
documents
stuff
that I've
to
showed her.
be taken care of. They're concerned and changed around, and I'm going to give it to you so you can send it to the maintenance committee.
Where's that?
And she has called for the board to settle it out of court, so it doesn't cost more
Okay,
money
so
a
this is
couple
a
times.
list of, okay, this is presented to you,
But other than that, I don't know.
repairs for the
All the
maintenance committee
different
to, okay, so Tommy, I'll get with you and, Bill and, Tommy, and, you can go through this and make a determination of what we may want to budget for next year's, and present that back, if we want to budget for next year's budget, and or things that we can actually repair within the budget this year. Okay, I'll get that to y'all. Yes, ma'am, what else?
Thank you.
Okay, we'll, move now to the park manager's report.
I know I have a question for the president.
Yes.
I got a lot of little interjections here throughout this meeting. Members are having issues getting a hold of the Trupo phone and email to get their first time key and membership. How many working emails does Trupo have and who monitors them? Can these working and non-working emails be updated on the website? Like which email should people be emailing if they need to get a hold of the president because they need to get a key?
Membership at creepo.net.
Okay, is that the only one
If
that,
I'm at home, I answer the phone, that's all I can tell you. If I'm not home, I can't answer the phone.
so is that the only email that's being monitored for that?
Membership.
Just the membership one? Okay, because there's a few other ones that are listed on the website that I guess, unless they're
Which other ones are listed there?
I don't have them written down, but I think one's like
Info.
communications, one's info, one's, I think it's not .net, but a Windstream address. One I've emailed, it was like a Tripo.net or something, but it actually said it went to Terry, but then it bounced back as a failure to send because the email wasn't good anymore. I think there's a membership at Tripo.net, there's about 5 or 6 of them on there, so.
Okay, so is there any confusion with the board members or?
There's membership, there's info, and there's communications. Communications go to the communications committee,
Nope.
membership goes to the membership committee.
No,
Info goes to a couple people on the membership committee, or on the communications committee. I think that only goes to Vonda and Terry. The Windstream one was disabled a long time ago.
Does it still show it up?
I went through and scrubbed it off the website, so
Okay.
if you find it somewhere, you are welcome to send me a link to it.
And I have another question for the president. And this is just a question because I don't know, there was no follow-up. Did a member recently send Tripo a certified letter for a records request? She states she hasn't heard anything back.
It was turned in.
It was turned in? Okay. And did she receive the inspection and photocopying the paperwork within the 10 days?
No.
No? Okay. All right. And in the last 2.5, well, actually, it's been more, because we have 7,000 now added to this year. But in the last 2.5 years, we spent $16,345.71 on legal fees. The majority of that money was spent for a similar request. So if we want to avoid nonsense legal fees, we probably need to start doing what we need to be doing, and that's the right thing.
Amen.
Second that.
Oh, we're in church for a minute.
Are you finished?
Yeah, with that one,
All
yeah.
right, thanks. Okay, we'll move on to park manager's report. Bill?
All right. The federal, Baltimore, Columbia County program for extended periods of time, even overnight. Let's see, all parks closed from dusk to dawn, Special circumstances need to be approved by the board.
Excuse me, can we have quiet from the audience?
Could you please not interject from the audience and let him finish his report? Go ahead, Bill.
On many occasions, park gates are left unlocked to allow for friends and or guests. However, non-members come in behind them as well. Glass is being brought into parks in large amounts. This should be discussed by the board. The rule is no glass in any of our parks. Children, adults are either barefooted or have minimal foot protection. Dogs are continuing to be brought into our parks. Perhaps the board should consider looking into another avenue to help enforce this particular rule. Gates at some of the parks have been damaged with bolt cutters and heavy objects. Pavilions, tables, etc. are being broken and vandalized. Brennan Park has had repeated damage to the fence posed by individuals forcing their ATVs and golf carts through the gate opening. Some grills need to be replaced due to the crates being damaged by using them as fire pits to stack wood on and burn. Before
there's no
and
fire
advise that
pits.
smoking pot in the parks is illegal. Fence was pulled open by Brennan Park by a UTV, a truck, or a vehicle to gain access after it was repaired. Trailers are starting to show up in some of our parks. The cemetery has been forestry cut, which means it's down below the stubble. We still need a little bit of work to go and clean around the trees. That's 2 acres that were cleared. Some members have spoken to me about certain groups of people causing them not to go to some of our parks due to the not feeling safe. Loud, vulgar music, vulgar language, pot smoking, and drunken individuals. So that's members that want to use our parks, but they don't go use them because they can't bring their kids to them.
Or because Bill's harassing them.
And I've witnessed it.
Which park?
I'm still having to deal with some of the same individuals concerning dogs, gates, glass, and destruction of property. I suggest possibly putting a gate greeter at other parks.
Okay, Bill,
But
that's
you
your
know
report.
what work is. People are unsafe.
Okay,
It's
James.
the safest money.
Are we getting, police reports, law enforcement reports on the vandalism, the damage?
Yeah, when I'm able to get them, I've got 2 so far, and I'll continue to collect them.
And we're also able to provide the sheriff's office with any kind of, camera footage that would be at some of these parks? So we can prosecute the people that are doing this damage to the tree boat members park?
Any particular parks that, are the cameras functioning, or are you able to get anything off camera?
Boat ramp, Hogan Park here, Midway sometimes, we've been having problems with that link over at Midpoint, I mean.
Right.
And that's really the only parts of it can be, so, no, yeah, boat ramp, park on the other side over there.
Think I'm going to park.
It wasn't
Put
included.
tables.
Just one other mention that, I guess some people fail to realize that have medical marijuana, that Florida law states that you are not allowed to have a smokable marijuana in public. So this is a criminal violation.
That's right.
And I suggest if anybody happens to see somebody violating this law, call law enforcement and let them know
Absolutely.
that this is a violation of state law and it's putting other people in danger, and, especially children. The parks are here for the people that live in this community, that pay their dues, they have the right to be safe in these parks. Anybody that does not make these parks safe, this board is gonna make sure that the access is gonna be denied, and any of their membership can be revoked. Plus, we will also press criminal charges on any violations of state law.
Why are we being pressed?
Why are we going, wait a minute,
Do you feel threatened? Why would you feel threatened? Are you violating these laws?
we're not going to have a
Because
discussion.
you're looking at us
Except
around.
that you're-
I have a question.
Don't look at me.
I have a question.
We're not going to have your question, ma'am. Not your time,
I
okay?
have a question for Bill. Sorry,
Okay.
Vicki, go ahead.
Charlie, is the internet working at Swanee Boat Ramp?
When was the last time I was there?
No, I don't.
Do you know when it was fixed? Because I've been trying to get you since June 1, and
I've fixed it 3 times since then. Windstream keeps going down out there. Seems like every time we have any kind of weather at all, windstream's going down out there.
When it goes down, does it have to be reset? Is that-
I normally have to reset it, or in a couple cases I've had to wait for the ground to dry out enough and then reset it, because
He installed the
those
camera.
wires have been in the ground for 50 years now, and it rains, we made them pair messed up, Windstream's been out there a couple times. It's been an absolute nightmare over there.
so when we don't have internet, we don't have a camera, is that right?
No, the camera still records, and I can access it directly, but I can't access it across the internet if the internet's down. It still records, so I can still get
Oh,
back.
that's good to know. Okay,
Yes.
I didn't know that.
I had a question for
Okay,
Bill. You place your eyes on these parks every day. Do you have a running list of problems with the parks? Like off the top of your head, what would be the 5 first small things that you would fix, and what would be the first 5 big things you'd like to see?
Once you talk to the mayor,
Okay, I will. That'll be next on my list. Also, I have been trying to get a hold of, and I'll just read it off. A life-saving AED device was requested by a board member in November of 2022, then again in January of 2024. When told there was no money in the budget, a member was kind enough to donate one in April of 2024 without response from the board. I received a donated AED in January of 2025. I'm gonna give you my number, Bill. It's right
I'm
here.
not calling you, you drop it off till we post it.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you my number. The AED.
And that's
has
not
been
a
ready
hostile
since
board,
May.
huh?
All the rules.
Hey, Bill, just let it go and let her finish it.
The AED has been ready at my house since mid-April to be mounted. I've attempted calling board members and officers, emailing Mr. Brim, texting, Facebook messaging Mrs. Brim, and no one will assist me in getting in contact with you, and refuse to give me your number. It is ready at my house for pickup. Text me before you head over, and we'll go through the monthly website maintenance checkoffs on heartsmart.com that I set up for you and I to be maintenance people on, and where it's to be mounted per the security cameras that Charlie has by the bathrooms. Also, I saw where.
Can I answer to that, please?
Please.
You have been told what to do with that thing, and you have failed to do it. You didn't drop it off at the board president's house like you were told to do. I have nothing to do with you, okay?
Why are we screaming? These are members here.
Calm down and deal with it.
This is what happens at a board meeting?
I emailed Charlie, I emailed you, I emailed Vicky.
Best thing they could do is start fighting amongst themselves.
Courses, you probably put 60 people through in the last couple of months. I wanted it to be mounted at Hodor, like we all discussed in the meeting months and months ago, and it's been ready. It needs 4 tap cons, and you're gonna need a hammer drill, and I have a couple little signs you can mount. I'm not gonna pick it up and carry it across all these counties and dropping it off at people's houses. We can either meet here, and I can bring it here, and you can mount it, but I'm not gonna drop it off at somebody else's house.
You were told to drop it off here today.
Well,
Okay?
all right, well, what I'm afraid is gonna happen is like everything else that happens with my emails and my texts and my phone calls and everything else, is that if I drop it off at somebody's house, it's gonna get dropped. And it has to be recorded monthly. Every month I've been recording a monthly maintenance on there on the website. So in case it malfunctions on somebody in a park one day when they use it, it's been checked off so that we're not liable for having faulty equipment. And I'm afraid if I just drop it off at the president's house, it's not gonna get mounted, and it's not gonna be maintained on the monthly website. So
Okay,
that's
so
why I
let
haven't
me
dropped it off.
solve this problem. I'll swing by and pick it up from you tomorrow.
Is it going to be mounted this week?
I will make every effort to mount it this week, yes, okay.
Okay.
I mean, I can't say 100% unless something goes wrong, but Yes.
And then I
Is
saw-
is your phone number, your last 4 digits?
9743. And I also.
Okay,
I
I've
did-
got your
I
wrong
did
number,
get-
so I text you today.
Okay, I did get your text late, obviously, like the
Okay,
email.
thanks.
The AED isn't a demo, so I can't demonstrate today how to use it because it's live, and once you open the tab, the $175 pads are useless.
Okay.
So I have 2 training links that can be put on the website. On Treefo, you can pin it up at the top, you can pin up the training videos on all social media. It goes through how to change out the cartridges for pediatric cardiac arrest, and it shows you how to use it for an adult cardiac arrest. That's the best demo. It's from HeartSmart, so it's their equipment, it's their training video, and it's for the lay public. So
Okay, so
I can't demo it here.
I'll get with you tomorrow and pick it up, and we'll do another demo in those corners, okay? All right. Thank you. Okay, so we'll move forward to the maintenance report. Tom, do you have anything to report other than the finish of the building?
No.
Everything's in place. I think the only thing that's left is putting up the baseboard for the building, but that's all that's left in this particular building right now. And cover the whole there, so that's all we have there. So it's a good job. Thank you. Move on. All right.
Was that the maintenance report?
That's the main issue.
Okay, I have a question on that.
Sure.
Yes, well, this is a meeting.
Yes, please, everybody stop the interjections. What's your question,
Yeah, this
Bonnie?
is where we discuss things. I'm
That's
gonna
our vice
leave out a
president.
couple Because it's a waste of time. With the buildings that have recently been painted, is there gonna be an annual pressure washing added to the yearly maintenance on these buildings? Because the last time it was done was by a member in June of '21, I believe. And it was in horrible condition up until now. So is there gonna be some type of yearly pressure washing to keep it looking nice and fresh the way it does?
Jesse, was it 21 when you did that?
I believe,
It was 21 minutes,
believe
I read
so.
all the minutes back to 20.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I have to go back and look, but
No, they can ask you a question, but we can't ask them.
Well, the intent is because of the condition it's in, we will work on a maintenance plan for it. And we're also gonna work on the area around the edge of the building because of the dirt that's bouncing up. We're gonna need to put something there, something.
Y'all can get all the ferns out of my yard you want, it will be perfect right there for them.
You're gonna dig them up?
I can.
Okay.
And I have another question. There was some throwback on, social media and some videos, and I guess I saw it in the, was it the minutes? Where Vernon said he didn't have to answer to anybody on Facebook, which is, that's legit. But I wanted to know if Vernon is licensed and insured.
Bill?
Yeah, he is licensed and
He's a
insured.
licensed.
He's licensed and insured. Okay, because I wanted to know if our liability insurance covered, if our liability insurance covered paid workers if they got injured in our parks. So we're gonna say yes, because he's yes.
No, I'll say yes.
That was the question I think everybody wanted to know. Is there a reason why our insurance, well, this is more, it's not really maintenance thing, but our insurance rates increased $2,300 from $5,500 in 2024 to $7,825. So I didn't know if there's a reason why insurance rates
You
increased.
have no idea. Is that the multiple payment? Is that one payment? No, you didn't review it?
Everybody's insurance went up. I had to pull the records from last year. I only
she
had
just
current
gets
records.
handed it from Carol Strickland. Carol Strickland gets paid to do it.
Okay, and then I have one more thing here. It said, well, actually two more things. It was noted in August of 22 minutes that people were jumping the gates and not locking them, and that we were being sued. No non-climbable fences were ever put in place in the walk-through parks even after the lawsuit settlement. It was also noted in July of 22 and again in September of 22 that Midpoint Dock is causing injuries from slips and falls. Other than scrubbing once or twice, it remains in complete disrepair. Then over the last few weekends, more slips and falls occurred on Midpoint Dock. The most recent remedy was a couple 2x4 braces and a slippery when wet sign. We don't need any more signs, we need park improvements. In the June 2024 minutes, it was noted that due to litigation, our dues will be impacted. We can actively avoid litigation if we put money back into our quality of our parks and our park structures, and by also complying with Florida statutes. I think the sign and the 2 2x4s is putting a Band-Aid on an arterial wound.
Have you seen the park?
Yeah.
When'd you
Midpoint?
Yeah, when'd you see it last?
Last week. Well, right after, I guess, the slippery when wet sign and the 2-2 buffer, unless something's happened since then. Was that the only thing that was done?
They've got some non-skid material on the dock now. It's been.
Okay, hold on, okay, that's been super new. Are we ever gonna get bids, contracts, receipts, and permits posted on the website for all of 2025? There's been a lot of questions regarding what's been spent specifically on the clubhouse and the A-frame and other parks. However, all work requiring bids at all parks should be listed on our website per the Florida statutes. Can the chairman see that it gets posted on TREPO under the documents tab, under like contracts, permits, and things?
Okay.
Is there any chance we have bids and contracts and invoices?
We have bids for this building, for the subcontractors on the building, yes.
They're put on the website?
They're not on the website. You have those turned in, right? So we're finishing up this project? Okay. Do we have a location for it on the website? Y'all know?
We just-
We do? Okay.
Well, which one was
Certainly
it?
can do that.
All right.
Can it? Should it? Yeah, okay.
I mean, if we're gonna play by Florida statutes, it says we have to.
Okay, so we'll move on then.
Okay, so they're gonna get put on?
Can we put those on? You want to put those on? Give a location for the bids, or it's not a big deal. I mean, we can present it to anybody that wants to see it. You want to see it?
Well, that just makes more reference requests for Vicky or anybody else. If they're on the website, we don't have to tax the board members with having these papers.
I haven't used a scanner, I don't know how to use it, I know that they purchased one. I put the bids in the folder with the month that I'm writing the checks.
Okay,
So I have the records if anybody wants them,
okay.
but I haven't scanned anything, no.
But y'all just said y'all don't fill record requests.
So we don't have to use the scanner?
What about the fact they just said that they didn't even do the record request a
All right,
couple minutes
we'll get
ago?
that done. It won't be done very quickly, okay?
And Mr. fucking IT, why isn't he putting this shit on the motherfucking thing?
That's where we stand.
So he does
Okay,
it all.
board members, we'll move on then to Communications Committee. Anything?
Yeah, well, the membership.
Okay.
So we've got, for Columbia County, we're up to 682 members. Suwannee County is 248 members. And the total, we're at 930 members as of July.
And we start
Columbia, 682, 248, and 930.
Okay.
Any communication, Mr.
Anything else you got, Charlie? All right.
Okay, I have questions for the communications committee. Well, it's kind of better than just beating the old horse with dogs and glass in the park. We actually have to address things that are problems. Is there well, this is kind of silly, but is there a physical welcome packet that goes out to each new potential member or realtor when a home or lot is sold in this neighborhood? So how do people know where
Your
to?
realtor should be letting them know. It's their job.
There's no welcome, there's no, okay.
No, there's not.
Question for Charlie, who owns the security cameras?
Tripo.
Okay. Who owns the computer that the camera software is on?
Tripo.
Okay. And if you're not able to serve as the TREPO IT guy, who would be able to access the cameras? Do you have a backup person who is it?
I own an IT company, so my technicians would be able to access it and give someone else access.
IT company?
I actually own 2 IT companies, and I use one of my companies to back up the other one if needed.
So your IT company would give us access?
Correct. So if I die in a fiery crash, you're not out anything.
Okay. Let's see if that's not true.
Right.
And same thing about the TREPO.net website, how do you get up on the website?
Actually, one of my web developers is a backup on that website. And she can access it and take care of things in my absence, or again, if I die in a fire crash.
Okay. Yeah, I tried the username and the password, I'm not sure if it worked. I did see how you put that on there, I appreciate you getting it on there, I just wasn't sure, it didn't confirm that I was logged in or not, so I didn't know if it was just a glitch or if I had to get a.
It won't give you a welcome that you're logged in, it just, the login box will go away.
Okay, gotcha. And then, lot of missing minutes, and park manager, secretary, president reports, P&Ls, that are just kind of like spread out all over the website. I was wondering if you could give them in chronological order, like.
I have been working on that actually quite a bit, but there's so many of them over the past several years. And not all of them was given to me back when they were done, so I can only work with what I have, but, I've spent countless hours trying to, get those in order.
Okay, because I don't know, whoever was uploading.
Bill, do you have a question?
Yeah, I did look for the ones that I've been, sending in for the last 3 months, and I'm having a hard time. Are you receiving the ones that I'm sending?
No, I'm not actually. When you send something, it goes to an automated system that runs every 30 minutes and automatically adds your document to the website without user intervention. That way, if I'm out on my motorcycle, I don't have to stop what I'm doing and pull over and post it for you.
Well, that sounds good. I'll check tomorrow and see whether I can find.
Yes, I will.
No, the minutes that are now for 2025 and the P&Ls have been placed in the incorrect spot on the homepage under announcements and other news.
Oh.
So go to the homepage, scroll down to announcements.
All right.
And then to other news, and then you'll find the 2025 PLs and the minutes.
Seems like there's a little dissension on the board tonight.
Okay, we'll move on into new business and discussion of the 2026 TREPO budget. Vicki, do you want to set a time where the committee can meet, start putting that together? You can go ahead and grab all the materials, you and Carol. We'll set that up and begin to get started on what we need to do for 2026.
Okay, and under new business, this time of year, usually in the fall, but as you can see, the checking account balance is down to 25. Instead of keep asking for approval, can I just move over like $100,000 from the membership account into our working fund account? Or do you want me to move it all? Because normally about this time of year, when we start preparing for the next year, we don't want all that money in there anyhow. You only want the current year that you're getting membership on.
Right, you'll be getting no revenue pretty much now between
Right,
now and the end of the year.
so we usually keep like $2,000 in that, so if I could transfer over 116,000 or 115,000 into our checking account, then we won't have to do it again before the end of the year.
So, board members, what's your pleasure? You're asking the board to
Yeah, to
make
approve
a
me to
transfer?
move the money.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board? Yes.
I mean, I think it's great. I make a motion to move that money leaving
Second
2009.
Okay, so you want to leave 2,000 even or 2,417? She's asking for 116,000, is that right?
Let's do that. Pull up, let's do 116.
So we have a motion by Vonda to move 116,000 and we have a second by Charlie. Any discussion on that, board members? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Let us, okay, what, do you want to set a time now, to start, working on the budget?
Well, I need to get with Carol and see
Okay.
when she's available.
Okay, you'll do that, and then we'll just make an announcement as to when it's going to be for that committee to meet. Folks can come in or whatever.
Okay.
Okay? All right, so, under old business, we had discussed,
Was that new business?
pardon me?
Was that new business before old
Transfer,
business?
yes.
Okay, are we done with new business?
We're done with new business, and I'm moving on to old business. And the
Okay.
first item that we're gonna deal with, we discussed, is use of facilities and primarily an operational plan for the use of the community clubhouse here, board members. So, because we had quite a number of requests, we did design this so that the community could use this for
Anything they want is theirs.
or receptions or whatever, for special events that are within the realm or the reasonable use of the building. So, if you have a small activity or something like that. So the thing is that we want to make sure and ensure that we have rules as far as not putting things on the walls, if that's what we choose to do. Making sure that we have a responsible person who locks and unlocks the building, that require a deposit, which I think we should begin to require deposits, and that we would have a person who would lock it up and verify as such. So I'm just gonna throw those kinds of things out. We've done that, I've done that with other agencies in the past, and it works very, very well. But the building should be left in better shape than it is when a person occupies it. So it should be cleaned. Somebody responsible should be overseeing it, and that way we'll be able to keep it that way. So what's the pleasure of the board? Any thoughts?
I think that if we do that, we need to, the deposit needs to be enough that we can ensure it's clean when they leave.
Right.
In other words, we just say $10 that.
Now, right now, we're doing 100.
So it's gonna
Previously, we were doing $100.
In the past, we did 100, but times have changed. If a window gets broke
Yeah.
or something gets damaged, besides just cleaning, maybe a $200 deposit, and if it's left in immaculate order, they get their deposit back.
Absolutely. I would think 200 would be a little bit low number myself. I would even say as much as 250. Of course, if they take care of the building, about 500 would certainly do it. Yeah. Nobody would be using it.
We used it all, wouldn't we?
To clean this
It might be
room.
hard to write a $500 check.
No, you're gonna have to give them
We need to have
$500 to use
something
it.
reasonable, but it's gonna make,
Yeah, a couple $100 at least, yeah.
it's gonna make folks wanna take care of it, make sure that their guests, don't abuse it, like marking on the wall and, defacing something, so. What are your thoughts? Just throw some things out first. Yes, sir.
Could we make it about, say, 250, go in between, and, would this be basically a credit card type thing, to where the card could be ran but not finalized? Or if somebody leaves it in immaculate condition, like normal, then the card wouldn't actually be processed.
We don't have a credit card machine though to run.
I might suggest a check, and then you just give them their check back if that's the case. That way, and,
What kind of checks?
a good check.
Not a rubber one.
Paper, yeah, okay.
Like Western Union.
But you also need to define, what it is as far as cleanup goes, so that, if we have things in the window, a drink or something you set in the window, you have scotch, we need to know what kind of chemical we want to use on the floor. That should be something that's, that we're consistent with, because it'll be a problem later. You understand what I'm
I
saying?
have to make a list of the rules, and I sign off on it, I think, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, no tape on the wall, stuff like that, if you want to know that far. Because most people that have birthday parties, they hang decorations, you know what I'm saying?
Understood.
There's certain types of cases that peel off.
Everybody's doing this backboard and
One of the good things, these are plastered walls and ceilings, so that's one good thing, so.
I mean, they make ones that'll not rip the drywall and, you know, they'll.
So do we want to, do we want to agree on something tonight as it relates to this? And then the other thing is I don't think we need to be putting a key out. It should be unlocked by someone, and that makes, you know, if we, it would require a volunteer, or either we'd have to pay somebody to
One you guys.
unlock it and lock it, and make sure that when the person leaves, that they're able to review the building for cleanliness. What's the thought?
They need to have a member lock it, you know, because it's gonna take our key to use the bathroom.
Right?
Well, we've been safe for, I've been letting people in and locking it up when they leave and checking it out.
But it's a
member is only-
we've only let members.
Members are the only ones who could utilize the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's not for the public, it's just for our association.
Right, be members in good standing.
Members in good standing.
I would assume that's the case,
Pick
so.
up a key from,
No, never.
they rented it, but they, when they turn the check in, they'd have to get the, draw the check or something, they can get the key to get in. Is that what we're referring to?
No, they're talking about whoever volunteers to be the one to unlock it and lock it, not the member.
Okay.
Because keys can be duplicated. That's what we want.
It's not just that, but we want to be consistent as it relates to
Right.
locking and unlocking the building. We want to-
That requires
Well,
somebody.
there be it.
So I know that,
to sign.
just to give you an idea, this project I worked on was the Columbia Administration Building, school building. And when we rented that facility out.
That camera's sitting in front of me. It says it needs to be plugged in. Look at the screen.
For a meeting.
It's not plugged.
But we had a janitor who was there who unlocked it, who inspected everything and then locked it back when it was finished. And so, that's kind of, and at the end of the day, that building looks as good as it did 30 years ago. You know what I'm saying? That's why I feel like that we put such an investment here. The better that we keep it clean, the more that people are gonna want to use it and do it right.
Another, I mean, I think we need to come back to this with our previous rules with the other clubhouse, because there's several things like, you can't use it for a money-making project, I mean, you can't be using this to, so, things like that. What do y'all?
I would like to postpone it later. I think we're not ready, we don't have a place for supplies, we don't have any of that.
We're not ready yet, but we can next month.
Yeah, we can do
Everybody
that.
can kind of think on this and bring your brainstorm to the table, so
Sure.
we can set some rules in
And
place.
starting with the existing one.
We can work on that.
You can? Okay. All right, is that, everyone pretty comfortable with that? All right, that's what we'll do then. So we'll move on then from, did you have any old business, Bonnie?
Yeah, I also have some questions that were pertinent to the new business under the agenda, but we'll do old business first. What's the computer status?
As far as
$1,000 was allotted to Vonda in November of 2024 for a scanner and a computer. Then an additional $3,000 was allotted to Charlie in February and March of 2025. What's been bought and what's needed?
it's in place, it's all in line.
So we have a computer and a scanner?
Yeah, there's nothing needed.
Okay, yeah, I've just been asking, and
You don't have to be so condescending to everyone.
I've been asking multiple times.
I'm just saying that for everyone's reacting how they are.
That's fine.
You're being condescending.
In February of 2024, Vicki asked about, and this is where me and Vicki agreed on things. 2024 in February, Vicki asked about a process to avoid multiple duplication efforts to respond to records requests. A computer and a scanner will get us up to Florida statutes codes and also eliminate the 10-hour days that Vicki spent digging through papers in the past. A simple email PDF would be sent in response to a records request. Vonda, you also told me we weren't allowed to use personal computers to scan documents, because I told y'all I would be more than happy to use my own computer, start using the scanner before we have the computer, start scanning in documents to get us compliant. But you told me I wasn't allowed to use my own computer. And I saw multiple laptops on membership day, there's plenty of, but anyway, Florida statute says you are allowed to use your own scanners, phones, computers, whatever, to scan documents.
I'll answer to that one. So yes, Florida statute says you could. However, I am also in charge of network security for this administration. I'm not going to go through your personal computer because there's a lot of things in there that's quite frankly none of my business. Personal pictures, family pictures, those things are none of my business.
Okay.
So I don't want to see them. So by using a computer, that it's a company-owned computer, I have full access to it so I can check security, I can make sure that there's no bugs, cooties, viruses, whatever you want to call them, and I can maintain security for all of us.
And so the computers that are used on membership day too belong to you?
Some cases, yes. In a lot of cases, yes. We did have a couple old computers, however, that were trepos. Those were decommissioned.
But none of the personal computers?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Um,
If somebody did, they snuck it in past me.
Yeah, I was just told, yeah, we weren't allowed to, but Florida statute says you can. And I was just trying to help because we didn't have a computer.
I'm very anal
And we
about
only had a
that security.
scanner, and we were allotted $4,000 for a scanner and a computer, but we only had a scanner, but I guess we got a computer, but nobody knows how to use the scanner.
One person said that she didn't know how to use the scanner. Only one person said that, so nobody knows how to use it. Because I know how to use it, Vonda knows how to use it, a couple of us know how to use it. It's only one person said that.
Maybe we can all sit down and figure out how to help scan some documents in, and
Perhaps.
bids, contracts, invoices, receipts, things like that.
So we will be setting up the office there. This building won't be utilized for anything but board meetings and community activities, so that will be getting set up there.
I just want to make sure I clarified the difference between nobody knows how to scan and one person knows how
It was an
to.
exaggeration, I apologize. Question for Vonda, do sexual offenders and pedophiles have key membership access?
Not that I know of.
Okay. I've been asking for a membership list for several months now, and our requests have been unanswered. I was appointed in January by the chair and the vice chair as a key and code committee person. I'm a board member, and it's a reasonable request to have a membership list sent to me. I've been working on a sexual offender list that I need to compare with our current membership list. It was noted in the March 2025 meeting that you stated that you didn't know if sexual offenders had key access to our parks. With the membership list not being cross-referenced, with the lack of fences or IDs being checked at the gates, I'm sure there's people accessing them. According to Terry, Vonda sends a membership list to the gate greeters, the president, the vice president, and their family members every weekend to check members at the gates.
Excellent to you.
Yes,
But you give the membership list to the other gate greeters.
I was gonna
the
check
gate
in.
readers.
Bonnie, on Monday, you'll get a copy of the membership list, as will the rest of the board members.
Perfect, because I've been working on a list for 4 months now to
Yep.
cross-reference.
You are on Friday.
Okay,
Yeah, that's-
what else?
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on now to, we'll open the floor up to, pardon me?
I had new business that went along with the agenda.
Okay.
I hate having to run through this as fast, because I have a lot of important things to cover. But, the new business had to do with, the TRIPO needs and projects. The needs, after hearing lots of complaints and constructive ideas from the members, it's evident that there needs to be a fair and equitable process for dividing up money to the repairs, and park improvements and placed online where members can see the progress and plans for each park. I've compiled a list of repairs and requests needed for each park, and it was emailed to the president, and she passed it out at the beginning of the meeting. This list, I also made a Excel spreadsheet. This list includes capital spending section for long-term projects, less than 3 years and over 15,000 for each park, and a short-term spending section for simpler projects for each park, less than 1 year and less than 15,000. The amounts are obviously a guesstimation. This list would be a living document. It would be dynamic and should be made available online on trico.net's homepage and pinned at the top. Social media platforms. It will have projected start and completion dates, estimated cost and progress on each project. This projected improvement list has been mentioned multiple times by Tommy Matthews in October of 2022, November of 2022, and October of 2023, specifically called in the living document. With the board, the officers, the park manager being overwhelmed with other duties, I'd like to make a motion that a volunteer park stewards be assigned to each park. This will communicate, these people will communicate with the park manager 2 weeks before each monthly meeting on what their park needs are. This will streamline the needs, requests, and improvements and help Bill with his duties. I even volunteer myself to set up the volunteers for each park and monthly meeting schedules. This will be a max of 10 individuals, no less than 8. The volunteer steward duties will include scheduling volunteer quarterly or more park cleanup days and curb appeal, daily, weekly walkarounds to make a list of needs, improvements, and immediate dangerous issues, have a good rapport with the local visitors in their respective parks. This will help in identifying troublemakers, because Bill possibly can't know everybody's name at each incident, but a steward will. They will report to Bill their immediate and future needs 2 weeks before each monthly board meeting. Bill will report all requests to the board at the following meeting. Bill will keep stewards aware of the board's answers to requests. Stewards will take personal pride and leadership in their respective parks, shut off fans, lights, help keep gates locked, and pick up bits of trash around the parks. Stewards will encourage pride from other property owners to get involved in the beautification of their parks. So, do you guys want to entertain the idea of having a volunteer network of people who are actually park stewards?
You made a motion, so
I did make a motion there, you guys.
you have a motion by Bonnie. It's a pleasure, board.
I don't see where a park steward's gonna know everybody, as what was stated, if Bill wouldn't, I mean, you're still asking one person to know everybody in the community, because it's not that the same people might frequent parks, but people do go from park to park. I don't go to the same park every time, for example. So I feel like saying that Bill would know everybody, but a park steward would is a bit absurd. I think that it steps on Terry's toes a little bit in that she is the president and she is the go-between between the board and the public. And it is her place to go out and speak to everyone and get to know them and bring these concerns and stuff back to the board. So I feel like it steps on her toes a little bit, and I just personally don't see the benefit.
Well, I did say that it would help in identifying troublemakers, because Bill can't possibly know everyone's names at each incident. He can't be at every park at the same time, he's one person, and we have multiple parks. So, if the park stewards were assigned, say you have you have a love affair with Point Park, and you just love that park, and you go there every day. You could pick up bits and pieces of trash, you could see things that need to be done. That would be your park. You would put out a group to all your friends, hey, let's do a cleanup day at Point Park, or, because every time I walk around these parks, there's trash all over the grounds. So trash isn't being picked up. I don't think the janitors, that's not part of their job description. The people who take out the trash, they're not picking up trash in the parks, they're just taking the trash can out to the street. I don't think Bill can pick up all the trash in every single park, every single weekend. The gate greeters, they're not doing, that's not their job. So I think if we have people who are assigned to each park, it builds pride and ownership. And if it steps on Terry's toes to have the park steward go through Bill.
Hold it down, please. Let Bonnie talk,
The
please.
park stewards can go through Terry. I mean, I don't have any,
Now,
I thought the
the girls that work, the girls that move the garbage out, they do a pretty good job.
yeah, but there's still plastic forks and rubber bands and.
That's true, they can't get it all.
Cheeto bags.
Well, they do walk through the parks, because I know for a fact, when Desi takes the garbage out, on the days that she comes to get it, she walks through the entire park. I've watched her.
But she only does it one day a week. She only takes out trash on Sunday nights, right?
I don't know what day she takes it out.
Okay, so
I know that
let's
she
do
does
this.
it on the park.
Yeah, of course, I should have gotten a second when we could discuss it, but I didn't get a second, but I went ahead and
Well,
let
just
this discussion. Go ahead, James.
At any time, any member can
That's it, right?
pick up.
Yeah, the park belongs to all of
Make-
us.
Make a recommendation.
The problem is that people are being hurt. That's the problem. You know, and whether y'all wanna be mad at me or not about this, people aren't getting hurt. They're not being heard, and I'm not being heard, you know, I mean, it's obvious by the lack of communication I've had with most of the members on board here. So there's a disconnect between the members of this community and the board members and officers, and it was here way before I moved here. This is my fifth meeting, this is my fifth meeting, I'm not the one who's the troublemaker, not the one who's causing all this divide like the vice president stated on social media.
I said.
This
We're not going to debate.
existed years
Just comment.
before,
Okay.
and I think there's
So,
a disconnect, and I don't think
you made your
people are being
point,
heard.
and I'm gonna let you make your motion again.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't pass, it passes, I mean, we'll call for a vote if you get a second.
I'm gonna make a motion for park stewards that have a designated park that they take pride in, that they are the ones who communicate with either the president or the park manager on what the needs of that park are, because the community does not feel heard.
Okay,
So
so-
we need a spokesperson for each.
Okay, so Bonnie's made a motion, do we have a second? You board member. Okay, motion failed.
Well,
So y'all will not be heard.
No,
Oh, go ahead.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay. But we're not gonna have the debate, this is the board having this discussion. So we can do it under comments later, but the board's gonna act on this.
I second the motion
You're not sitting with the board.
You're an alternate if somebody's absent.
So let's move
Oh,
forward.
so I can?
Okay. All right, so what we'll do now, so anyway, motion.
We're not good at this.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do, we're gonna move now to property owners. You'll have 2 minutes per person to speak. Cut you off after 2 minutes, and it's only gonna be the person, who has asked to speak to the board that speaks. If it gets out of control, I'll just call a meeting, okay? So just remember, we're gonna have order in the room.
Gee, I wonder why.
If someone wants to speak, they can stand up and speak, they can say their 2 minutes. If it gets out of order, I'll close the meeting. So, anyone want to speak to the board? Okay, Liam.
Okay. All right, I know I said it before, I was on the board back in 97 and 98. Nobody wanted to do maintenance, committee they called. I said, well, I'll do it. And then Mr. Bright, I talked him into helping me, because we need somebody to sign.
Who is that?
Mr. Bright, he was an old man, he was like 80, and he told me, I can't leave my house, we'll have to do everything. I'm like, that's okay. All I have to do is go and see what it needs and bring it to the board. That's all I gotta do, is inspection, basically, or be able to get members to call. And Mr. Jolly was, from Cleveland side, he was the chairman, and everyone would call him and say, oh, this is low. So he would always, so that's how we did it back then. I wouldn't wanna do what he did. He answered that phone all day. I couldn't take that, but anyway, getting back to the meetings. I went ahead and did just like I did back then. I started at Bridge, and everything was pretty good. I found two things at Bridge. I'm gonna run my 2 minutes out. I had to do this, but I found that the lock is impossible. It's got that round thing, and it needs to be oiled because I couldn't get it to close. And when I got in, I just said, oh, I had to leave it open. You couldn't. I was like this, trying to.
This is Ridge Park Current?
Bridge, yeah. So it's down into a thing, and it's impossible. I hope that it would be changed.
Okay.
The law thing.
Were you
the way it is.
even able to open it?
I think Bill knows what I'm talking about.
The issue is people put that lock in all different ways, okay? So people can't open it.
It's the way it's inside. Go
I
look.
understand, we'll take a look at that. I'm gonna give you another 30 seconds, okay?
Glenn, listen, I went all through here on with my gas and time and checked everything out. I'm trying to be real quick about it. The grill up there, it needs to place that one.
Oh,
That's
where?
it. Ridge Park.
Okay.
Those two things were it. I went next down to the camping park. When I got there, it had been raining and there was a tent there. And there was two people. One of them was sleeping, it was a kid, she was sleeping up on a picnic table. And a lady was there and she had her bra and all clothes just out there hanging. And I went with a friend and I went there and I said, we were going to sit there for a while, but, and when she had a fire going and it was like 95 degrees. And I'm like,
Leanne will have to cut you off, so
okay,
make it
but
quick.
Glenn, listen, their fire was in the middle of the parking lot.
Okay.
And I said, look, I know what you're talking about, because she was calling me the devil and everything, and I'm like, I don't care, I'm putting the fire out. You can't have this burning, there's no containment. They had it in the woods, no containment. Then I went ahead, she got mad at me and I told her, you need to go back to your tent. You can't hog up like this whole place. I don't know what's going on here, but I wanna be here and I can't, so I'm gonna make this fire out. So I put,
Thank you.
listen, I pulled all the grass. This is what members can do. I pulled all the grass because snakes can get up there. Under the tables was this high of grass. I weeded the whole thing out, all around the grill and everything. I put the fire out. I went home, got my rake, came back, raked the best I could.
Thank you, Leanne, thank you for your
Glenn,
service.
I'm trying to
I
tell
know
you,
you
I
are.
was trying to
We'll
tell
be
you
here
what.
we'll be here all night,
No.
thank you, so.
All right, let me
You're gonna
just get to the
need-
worst, okay?
Okay.
Over 20,
Okay.
when you go up the ladder to go to the, I said to myself, we need to have Charlie put cameras in here at Brandon Park, because there's electric. Well, I went and I looked, those stairs are rotted. You got that whole thing going up to that electric box, it needs to be replaced. It's simply just rotten. And then that was all I saw there, except the signs need to be. That park, that boat ramp over there are boards laying all where the fence has been fell down. Nails are sticking up. You talk about barefooted kids. I mean, if they step on there, they're.
Is that the way it is right now?
Yes, it
Okay,
is.
so we'll address that tomorrow.
Yeah, and another thing here,
The nails, thank you.
there was nails sticking out like this off the bench of the picnic table. If those little kids are up there and they slip and close their foot down in there, those nails would have just ripped it. That picnic table cannot continue to have those nails sticking out. The other one, I went in.
Thank you for bringing that to
The
us,
pump
Leanne.
was
We're gonna-
running soft.
Leanne, you're gonna
Listen,
have to say-
Glenn, one more thing. Listen,
You promise one
yeah.
more thing? Okay, say it. Yes,
When I
it is.
got there, also, there was the pump, just running, and I'm like, no one's here, why is that running? I hope there's not a broken pipe, so I went into the men's restroom, and the handle was like that, so I'm like, oh God, the handle stuck, so of course, put the handle up, went out, pumped it went ahead and cut off. Okay, so I went back in, I took the lid off, I put it down so that people could see in there and realize, oh, this must be broke, because you can see that it wasn't closing the thing that, you know. So I put a sign up on the wall, and I said, please make sure the handle's stuck, you're gonna burn the pump up. Glenn,
Leanne, you're gonna have
did
to.
you fix
Please sit down.
Did anyone fix the toilet in the question over there?
Bill's the toilet fixed over there?
The handles?
The handle's in order.
Okay.
On my bed.
Okay, as long as you know.
Please have a, you're gonna have
Wait a
to
minute,
see.
one more.
Leanne, please.
That's the pump, the,
Leanne.
pressure switch is
You can't order it
broken.
then.
Leanne, we're going to clear it all. Please, have a seat. Okay, anyone else
Pressure
want
switch
to
is
speak?
broke over there, Glenn, on the pump.
Anyone else want to?
You
Okay.
have to be able, you gotta know the pressure in the tank. It can destroy the pumps if you don't. I know, I used to work with pumps in my.
You would be an excellent person.
Anyone else want? Yes, ma'am.
I already did it, I already know.
Thank you, Leanne.
Thank you, Glenn.
But-
I want to go back to April 26th at the Boat Ramp Park on Swanee Side. Bill Grimm chased everybody out, and I want to know why. I brought this up at the May meeting, and you said you would look into why he did that.
Okay.
It was a violation of state statute 720, because we were peacefully assembled, we weren't bothering anybody. It was an anniversary party for 2 of the members,
Right.
and I want to know why we were kicked out.
Okay. Bill, was there an incident on that particular day for? Did you kick him out
You
of the
said
park?
you were gonna look at the video.
I did talk to him and I looked at the video and I didn't see that. I just saw a lot of noise. I did not see where he had kicked anyone out of the park.
Kicked the people that brought in a pizza trailer that I wouldn't serve food out of for my dog. And you didn't call the board.
Bill.
What?
Wait a minute, we're not, I'm gonna tell you right quick.
Wow.
It's only gonna be one person in the audience speaking. Okay?
The
So,
pizza wagon was
wait a
there.
minute.
That's who we should have to help
It was
members.
unapproved. He did not call the board. Nobody called the board about it. And then,
We didn't have to.
Yes, you do.
If I take $50
You're gonna have
worth
an
of
event.
hamburger down there and start barbecuing hamburgers for everybody,
But let me
do
just.
I need to call the board?
Wait a minute, let me just clarify something, if I could, please. Okay?
Yes, sir.
And please understand something, regardless of the covenants and restrictions in Swanee County.
We don't have any.
Great, that's fine, okay? But please understand something. It is the responsibility of managing the parks. All the parks were conveyed to Three Rivers of Property Owners Association. This board makes the rules for the parks. Regardless of what anyone else decides that they want to do or how they want to do it, the responsibility of the parks and the decisions that are made in the parks are made by this board.
Where are those
Plain and simple,
posted?
okay?
So I still don't understand why we were kicked out.
you were not all kicked out. I said the pizza guy had to leave.
Wait, we're not going to debate back and forth. The point's been made. He said what he said, and you're interpreting it different. So at that particular time, that's what happened. Sorry for the incident, but in the future, we won't go forward with commercial events or someone vending in the park, okay?
So why was the pizza guy kicked out?
Because it did not have board approval. That's exactly
Where is
what I
that rule
said.
stated?
Exactly what I told you, and you kept yelling at me.
He's,
Okay.
what do you mean, why does he need?
I'm sorry, you need to
Marilyn,
address.
your time's up. Anyone else want to speak? Sure. Let's let Jason speak
No,
here.
I didn't.
My name is Jared, by the way.
Let's let Jason, okay.
Everybody here knows my name, Clay Jones. But listen, I have a question that we just found out that Swanee side has 248 members that each paid $175.
Right.
That's $43,400.
Right.
Can you tell me just year to date, right now, how much money's been spent at any of the parks on Swanee side?
I have no idea.
The answer is zero. The next question I had, somebody said. Yeah, Vernon, go.
Hang on, I actually wrote a list down that I didn't get to go about today, exactly how much money we
Vernon,
spent.
and then we have
Swanee County Park.
So the other thing I wanted to say is Glenn Hunter threatened to shut our park down, and that's not your job. Your job is not to threaten us. And there's not a man in this room, there's not a man in this room that can break a 2x8 with their hand. That's what all the park benches are made out of. If you think a man can break that with his hand, you're really on something really delicious, and you probably might want to share it with the room so we can get on whatever you're on.
So what is it you're talking about? That I
So,
threatened something?
you threatened Brennan Park. You said, and Vernon Road, I have video of Vernon Road destroying that gate and the fence.
Yeah.
I have the video, so you can threaten however you want. I have the video. So,
Just relax.
no, I'm not relaxing, you're a liar.
Well, I'll tell you, you're through, okay? So anyone else want to
I
speak?
sat down
Yes,
way
sir.
before you could tell me I was through.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my question is, Bill, you're talking about troublemakers and people, members not being wanting to go to the park because of that. Should that be part of our gate greeters, if they see people that are drunk and disorderly or causing issues? Shouldn't that be part of their responsibility to call the CCO to get them escorted out of the park or to,
Well,
remove them from the
it's
premises?
anyone's responsibility that is a member in Three Rivers Properties Association. Anybody that's a member, has property, certainly should have the right to say, you shouldn't be here if you're drunk, this is my park too.
Okay, then how come that, I'm just wondering, why isn't that being done then?
What do you mean?
It is.
It is being done.
We've got two police, y'all just said we have 2 police reports. But Bill's saying we have a lot of these issues.
Okay.
Well, so then we should have more than 2
Okay.
police reports to go along with it.
Then we need to increase the police reports. I
How
agree.
many gate readers do we actually have? Because, when you did the treasure report,
We have 3 gate graders,
we
is my
didn't,
understanding. Is that
we
right?
didn't have,
4
what
gate
they
graders.
would pay for May and
It doesn't
June.
always happen with gate
Yeah.
readers either.
It's not always.
No, I was asking about, there was nothing on the P&L about them being paid for May and June.
No, I think she just went over anything that was out
I
of.
went
the
over
ordinary.
exceptions of the normal rule. It's on the P&L what the gate readers were paid for May and June.
Well, they didn't start till May the 25th.
Right, yeah, then it may have.
And they got work in June, and that's it, so far. That's the only thing that's went up to do.
There's only 3.
4. Grant, went up,
Okay, Mary, thank you very much. Anyone else want to speak to the board? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I heard that you spent some money on maintenance.
What's your name?
John
John
Delamonte.
Delamonte. Okay,
I
John.
heard that you spent some money on maintenance, and just like this lady said, there's some benches over there, picnic tables on the Swanee side that are a hazard. Okay, I heard money was spent on these, but nothing's been done yet. Bathrooms are atrocious, you know. You say we gotta go to the board to get permission to have a function. Well, you can't even, the board, she's asking you for a list of the homeowners here, and she hasn't even gotten it. She's been asking for 4 months now.
She'll get it Monday.
Okay, I'm just saying, so if we're what's our lead time to ask you for a function to happen? A month?
Let me bounce onto his. It's not even on there to reserve anything for Swanee side,
Not at all.
only for Columbia.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
Okay, so the
There's
same
nothing
thing.
to reserve. That's why we like to know where the rules are.
So
Okay, so we'll find, can we get that? Yeah, we'll get that set up that way, but the real problem is bringing an outside vendor that's been approved for someone to sell products.
it wasn't
Yeah,
selling
that was the whole
anything.
thing.
It was giving their party.
That was donated to those people, it was their wedding anniversary,
He wasn't
donated.
selling pizza.
Okay, ma'am, please sit down.
Say that.
Okay, so we'll get that out, you can make the call and then the board can approve that, okay?
Okay, and
Yes.
so the maintenance thing, how soon?
We're
do we
gonna be over
expect
there
to get
tomorrow,
this?
we're gonna be over there tomorrow to look in, there's benches, nails or whatever, someone said that was.
I'll volunteer to
hazard.
come over there tomorrow, Glenn.
We look forward to seeing you.
What about the pump
Okay.
cover?
There was only five
The pump cover, what on the well?
Yeah, that's.
nails in the
They're
hammer.
working on that.
Because that
They are
has
working
that-
on that, yes.
exposed.
We have an electrician, just a moment, please. We have an electrician over there who is actually gonna place that out. He's got it covered, and taped up today, he's got the part, he'll fix that. Okay, so electrician's gonna fix that. All right, so anyone else? Yeah, Jesse?
Oh, go ahead. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
How can we get the golf cart signs for the Swanee side? I noticed that there are golf cart signs on the Swanee side here, but we don't have it on the Swanee side. Can we get golf cart signs?
Golf cart signs, I'm sure Rich Jones.
You have a giant golf cart sign all around here that says this is a golf cart community. Ours is also.
Those are probably on the county right of way, are they not? So we can't, we have no authority over county right of ways. If you'll call the county road department,
I thought you
well, the best thing to do would be to call the county manager's office in Swanee County and put a note in their phone or whatever, and then let them transfer you to road department. The road department would be handling that. Okay, Jesse? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Cheryl Sutherland. My husband and I donated that well house cover for the.
Yes, ma'am.
On the Swanee. Are you ever gonna do anything with that, or is it just gonna just sit there?
Just a moment, please. Bill, we looked at that, I think you
I
decided that.
decided not to use it because it needs roofing redone on it. I don't wanna, and I was gonna call Miss McNamara, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and I was gonna call, it was delivered without me even looking at it, okay? I appreciate it, I even told you I appreciate
Okay,
it.
well,
But
a shelter needs to be built over
But
there,
I'm
and we've
gonna,
got some
we're
plans
gonna
for
build
that.
one around it, the way, kind of where it was, so you can open the lid to work on it. That pump needs to be able to open the lid, because the pump sits on top of the. Okay, and so that's the reason it's still sitting there, and the
Okay.
person.
Bill, we got that covered. We're good. So I'm gonna let enough people speak, so. If you have another question, ma'am?
no,
Your first name was?
Cheryl.
Cheryl, okay. And Jesse?
Yeah. My name is Jesse Crane. For the people that don't know me, I've owned property here since about 2006. I'm the one that obviously the lawsuit is over. I just want to let everybody know that, first of all, I have not asked for any money in this lawsuit. I'm suing this board for the misappropriation of funds and mismanagement. There's an FDLE case that is number TL481284 that lays out a lot of illegal things that have went on and people that were definitely able to be prosecuted. That this board, a lot of the members were here when it happened, and I brought it up at these meetings about the embezzlement, so they definitely clearly knew about it. They definitely know about it today. This lawsuit that I'm bringing forward, as I mentioned, has no kind of monetary value to me whatsoever or anybody else that has filed the petition. And it's also kind of unexcusable that y'all keep saying it's the Jesse Crane lawsuit, because it's a group of a whole bunch of members that are actually suing this board, not just Jesse Crane. Whenever the state of Florida accepts a lawsuit, there has to be one person that represents the lawsuit. So that's how that works.
What year was it that the investment took place?
What do you
Well,
mean?
you said there was an investment that took place, so what year was it?
You should probably look the case up. It started being investigated in 2018 is when it started, and it wrapped up in 2023. So until now, I'm not sure if they're still going up or not.
So you say it wrapped up, was anything determined or?
Yeah, there's an FDLE summary investigational report. That's the best way to look at it, because the special investigator lays out what he found that was criminal and not, and who should be prosecuted. He also turned it over to the Columbia County Sheriff's Office for further prosecution, because some of the people didn't meet the criteria because there's a threshold for FDLE. And at the time, Sheriff Hunter declined to prosecute and investigate in the report that states this, because his brother was one of the actors that could be responsible, that was doing some of the things that was going on. So now there's an FDLE investigation report. I just gave you the number. I'm telling you what the report says.
If you don't stop, we're going to close the call meeting, okay? Please stop. All right, let him talk.
I'm telling you what the report says. It actually states that word for word. It doesn't have your name in it. It says because his brother, there's a conflict of interest, so he didn't pursue it. You know, and now there is a new sheriff.
But we contacted FDLE, and there was no report of anything.
Can I have that
with
FDLE?
so-
Definitely. It is, I do have a copy of the report. Yeah. It's TL 481284. IRS is the investigational report, and that's in the
Does
report
that
from the
have all
FDLE.
summary with it?
You're gonna have to make a public records request.
Yeah.
They're really good about that because they're legal, so like they'll get it to you pretty quick if you make a request. So also, I just wanted to point out that, you know, this board is supposed to be a voluntary position. Y'all keep claiming you're spending tens of thousands of dollars because I requested records. I laid out a monetary amount from 13 months, and y'all never would give me any contracts. Y'all never gave, it's all in documents that you can go and look online at the OCRS at the Columbia County Courthouse. Anybody wants to go check that out? That's also there. You just put my name in a record search. This is going to happen on the 24th. Is going to be the first hearing that's going on at 9:30 in the morning. And you know, I went about this because I wasn't able to get records. The records that I did get were very sparse, and there was a lot of checks wrote directly to board members. In our bylaws, it states that no board member should receive a benefit for them or their family without consideration. I've got lots of recordings and lots of documentation where board members are receiving lots of money, and that's in that complaint that was filed too. So moving forward with this, if we can't settle this, members and the board, I'm going to sue every board member personally. I just want to let y'all know that's my plans. If this can't be sorted out, me and a couple hundred members are going to start suing everybody personally, and y'all can't use our dues when we sue you personally.
I better go get that
So,
vehicle right away.
yeah,
Okay.
you should.
Do we have anyone else? Do we have anyone else who wants to speak? Mr. Chairman, meeting's adjourned.
Hey, the Bible says your sins will find you out.
Yeah, she went to like all the parks and wrote down a bunch of stuff and tried to, you know.
Who is that? The devil? That's the devil, Mickey.
Anyway, they will edit this meeting and post it because they'll take out whatever they don't want you to see.
You know, there's a month, I think it was September last year, there was $80,000 in expenditures. $80,000 in 1 month. Have you seen that, Jared? That's a good one. In 1 month last year, I believe it was September, there was $80,000 in expenditures. At the board meeting, she said that the bank accidentally transferred $40,000 out of the account, so she'll go over and try to get the money back. But we're talking about 80. Where's the other 40? Never. And I haven't gotten anything since 2023.